Hello, everyone. This is Megan,
And this is Alana.
and welcome to Tea Time Crimes. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hi.
Wherever you are in the world. To all of our listeners in Australia, Kuwait, Ireland.
Boy, you look for every opportunity to use that accent, and I love it.
Sure.
Our Irish listeners, let me know if you love it as much as I do. We had to change our recording schedule around so it feels like we haven't done this in 100 years.
It does. It feels like it's been a long time.
But I'm excited to be here, even though I woke up at like 3:30.
I don't think you had to wake up that early for this session.
I did not, but my brain is now mashed potatoes.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
So
It's going to be a good one.
Yeah, I expect top notch today. Everything we hoped and more. I expect my notes to be super crisp and just
Perfect.
moving through
I
this.
sense we're going to do some time traveling as usual.
Who knows? Before we start, though, I wanted to ask you a question because I always ask you these questions to see if it's me being weird or if it's weird.
Oh, boy.
But you and I both work in an office, right? Not the same one,
Well,
but we work remote. We have office
Yes.
jobs. Yes.
yes.
How do you feel about this phrase in an email?
Oh, God. If I know it's coming from, I quit.
Wet signature. Does it bother you as much as it bothers me?
I mean, you really pronounce the T in that, and I think that's what puts it over the edge.
How are you supposed to do it?
Wet signature. You went what?
Because I wanted you to understand I was saying
signature.
wet. Wet
Okay,
signature.
I get it. No, it's
terrible.
worse.
Thank
It's
you.
terrible. So I don't
I have
know.
so many problems with it. One, I don't want the word wet in any of my emails. Like I wouldn't want moist to pop up in an email either. I'm fine if we're at a bakery.
Moist regards.
Moistly. I mean, if we're at a bakery and the baker's throwing it around, I'm cool. But I don't want the word wet in an email. It's stupid because once I get that wet signature, I have to let it dry and then I scan it and then it's dry to you anyway. So I don't understand the purpose. And it bothers me.
Yeah, maybe they should do like live on paper.
How about just say sign it with a pen? I mean, wet.
Yeah, that works.
It makes me feel so
It's pretty good.
Annoyed and uncomfortable. And I didn't know if that was... Have you ever gotten a request for a wet signature?
Yeah, I mean, for legal stuff.
It didn't bother you like it bothers me?
I didn't think about it like that, I guess. But now I'm going to.
It just sounds weird. No?
Now it's going to forever.
There you go.
Thank you.
It's been bothering me all week. I just keep thinking about that's a term and I'll never use it. Ever. I will dodge it.
Wonder if I can put you in a way that I can make you say it.
Just say, I don't think it's a necessary term that we need to keep alive. I don't think we need it anymore in this day and age. Also, have you ever heard of DocuSign? You might want to try it. I'm just saying.
It's pretty cool. They did not sponsor this.
Yeah, but if you'd like to, please contact us at teatimecrimes@gmail.com. There are 100 other things like DocuSign that you could use. And I would pay thousands of dollars to use those instead of...
Adobe has one?
Yeah, exactly. Instead of having to use the term wet signature in any of my emails. I would be like, hey, here's a program that does it for you electronically. Thank you.
I think it's like extra when it's like an extra special signature or something, like probably like something for banks.
It's like a birthday signature.
Things like that.
But it's just scanned anyway. How do you know if it's wet? You're not testing the ink.
Because you could tell between electronic, like, it's safer.
Whatever. I could just write it with a pen and not be the person. You're not seeing the person do it.
It's true.
Anyway, I had to get that off my chest. So it's a little bit a me problem. But now I've made it a you problem. So mission accomplished.
Thank you for that. Perfect. I'm all set.
Okay, hop into your tea review because you said you were excited about it.
I am. I need a good cup of tea. All right. So this one, we're going for a black tea because I need a little bit of energy this morning. It is Darjeeling tea, but the specific title on this one is Darjeeling Margaret's Hope.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's a nice title.
Is there a story behind the name?
Nope, doesn't look like it. Just think about it.
I'll just hope for Margaret this whole time.
It's a superb black tea from the Himalayas. Woody and fruity.
Nope.
It has plenty of character.
Nope. I don't like Woody.
I love Woody.
Yikes.
So I did some research because, I want to know, should I be putting milk in it or not? With black teas, you usually do.
Well, that's what you
But
told me.
This one
a couple
is too
episodes ago.
delicate.
Oh, jeez.
It's too delicate. You're not supposed to put milk in it. It seems like an offense to the tea community to put milk in it. So I didn't even bring milk to the table today.
Where are you finding this tea community?
Look, it's very deep.
Oh my gosh.
All right, ready?
I'm ready.
It just smells like black tea.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yeah, I'm still ready. Okay.
I feel like it could have milk.
Yeah.
It may make it nice. It's just
You want to go get some milk?
no.
God, you're going to suffer through this just because the tea community will look down on you.
I'm trying to get the notes.
Oh boy. A softer melody today.
I could sense the woodiness, not the fruitiness. It's a nice tea. It would be better with milk. It's a good tea. It's a solid black tea.
I thought it was delicate.
Strong body. Full.
Is it where's the delicacy come in?
I don't know. It doesn't taste delicate to me.
You sure you don't want to go get some milk? Go get some milk.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. And we're back. Where'd you go?
Look.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a deeper, not delicate Darjeeling, but I really think it'd be better with milk.
Yeah, there you go.
Or maybe my palate is just not sophisticated enough.
No, don't downplay this. Own your tea preferences. Pour that milk in there. Go.
I'm only going to do a little bit.
Oh my God. I put so much milk in my tea that I know if I do it in front of you, you'd yell at me.
Probably.
Yeah. Oh, familiar. Oh, there's that spoon. Missed it.
I think it's nice.
I'm glad that
I'm going to put a little bit more.
I'm so proud of you for getting the milk, even though you know it went against your research, which is so on you. So proud of you.
Yeah.
Is it better? Give us a taste.
The color looks a lot nicer.
Okay, well, yeah. Okay.
Before it was black.
Well, it was a black tea. Better?
It's better, but I'm afraid I ruined the notes.
Oh, dear. Well,
I might have washed it out.
There weren't any notes. You said there was no fruit.
It was the woody.
Oh, yikes.
Hold on.
You're spiraling out of control.
I can still smell it. Okay, we're okay. We're good. We're good.
Do you
We're
like
good.
it?
We're fine.
Is it
I like it. It's a good tea. It's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Thumbs up.
You're not convincing right now. But okay, cool.
It's a thrusting thumbs up.
Please don't say that.
Right on top of that wet signature.
Oh, it's got some moist notes of wood, and we are ready to roll.
Hit that velvet hammer, baby.
Thank you, Margaret. I hope you're having a great day wherever you are.
Margaret, you're a beaut.
Oh, Margaret. Okay. You ready? You ready for the part you don't like?
Yeah.
All right. Today's case is the Granite Woman and the Putty Man.
What?
Not a weird name. Okay. So on May 9th. Oh my gosh, you already have a question. Hit it.
Are they sculptors?
No.
Oh.
But I like that conclusion. Just like two artists in the artist community drinking some Margaret's Hope.
Granite and Putty.
I know. Yeah. No, it's
okay.
more.
Okay, sorry.
It more will speak to their personalities.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. I don't know why that's gross, but okay. On May 9th of 1927, housewife Ruth Snyder calmly awaits her sentence for the brutal murder of her husband, Albert. Life in prison seemed the most likely sentence, but Ruth showed no surprise. She's the Granite woman, if you haven't guessed. When instead, she became the only female at Sing Sing on death row.
Whoa.
Yeah, so where did it all go wrong for the Granite woman? And who is the Putty man? So Ruth was born 1895 in Manhattan. Her parents were from
New York.
Norway and Sweden. And her father was incredibly hardworking. He was a skilled carpenter and he was employed, but it was Manhattan in the early 1900s. So the family of four did the best they could, but they were certainly living paycheck to paycheck and they had to budget.
Mm-hmm.
And Ruth developed a very, the grass is always greener outlook. She wasn't allowed to have nice things. She couldn't just have what she wanted. They had to make choices. A little bit of a Candy Mossler vibe going on.
Oh boy, that's a slippery slope because the grass will always be greener. Let me tell you that.
I know, unless you're my husband and you're on the front porch and you're staring at your grass for the 18,000th time, then your grass is perfect. And so Ruth also was not much of an academic. So she actually dropped out of school when she was 15. She didn't like it, boring.
Mm-hmm.
But she wanted to better herself. I mean, school is boring, especially if you're not loving it. But stay in school.
Yeah, I guess.
So Ruth gets a job as a telephone operator, and then she goes to school at night, actually, for business and to learn shorthand because she wants to be a stenographer, which would be a pretty good gig.
Cool.
For a lady in the early 1900s.
Yeah.
So one day at work, Ruth makes a mistake. She's 19 at this time, not 15, just to bring it up to speed.
Okay.
She dials the wrong number, and Albert answers it.
Oh.
And Albert yells at her for disturbing her day.
Oops.
Yeah.
Prank call failed.
Real charmer. So Ruth, I think most 19-year-olds might get flustered, but again, girl's Granite.
Yeah.
So she just very calmly apologizes and she's very sincere, and that's the end of it for her. And Albert is kind of disarmed by this and realizes that he was being way too harsh. So he calls her back and apologizes. And then he insists on apologizing in person.
Oh, God. I'm getting creepy vibes.
Well, it's like, I guess it's Tinder in the 1900s. It's working really great. So the two agree to meet. Now, I think Albert has a pretty short fuse in general, it would appear. But also, Albert had been engaged for almost a decade to a woman named Jessie Gouchard. And right before their wedding, she actually died of pneumonia. So Albert's also in the middle of his grief.
Yeah, okay.
Right? So the couple meet, and instantly Albert's attracted to Ruth. She's tall, she's a vibrant blonde with striking blue eyes, and she's incredibly charming. And Albert is actually in his early 30s. So she's 19, he's like 31.
I'm against that.
I know. When you're 30, it doesn't really matter. But when you're 19, that's a tough age gap.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
And Albert is attractive, he's sophisticated, he's established. He has a job as an art director for a magazine.
Fancy.
The name of this magazine has an unfortunate title. I don't think it meant the same thing.
What signature?
No, Motorboating Magazine.
Yeah, they enjoy lake life.
Yes, he has a boat. Anyway, so Ruth actually starts working for that same magazine. Albert gets her a job. And then the two start dating. And once they start dating, Albert just sweeps her off her feet. He's just love bombing her. She's going to shows, they're going dancing, they're going to fancy dinners. Everything she's ever wanted, Albert is providing for her.
Okay.
So, often I feel that love at first sight, this kind of vibe is that somebody else is fulfilling something that happened to you in your childhood, like some sort of trauma.
Yeah.
And he's fulfilling that need for Ruth.
But for how long?
Excellent. Yes, it does not last.
Thank you.
Girl, good voice. So the two get married in 1915. Ruth is 20, Albert's 32.
The war is coming. Wait.
What? An internal war? Oh, please don't. You always reference the World Wars every time. Like,
well, you go throughout the decades. Those are peak events.
It has no.
It started in 1911.
Relevance in this case. Don't worry about the World Wars, okay? Just come back to Ruth, okay?
I'll try.
Ruth and Albert just got married, all right?
All right.
So initially, they seem like a good pairing. Albert is a good financial provider. Ruth decides to quit her office job and she works as a housewife, living in a nice house, right? Having everything she needs. It seems like it's going to work out. But there are some pretty big cracks in this foundation.
In that granite foundation.
Oh, nice. I missed that. You. So one, the age difference is a little bit of a problem because their personalities are so different. So Albert is an introvert. He likes to be outside. He likes to go boating. He likes to go hiking. He likes to sit at home and read.
Me too.
I get you, Albert, but Ruth does not feel the same way. Ruth wants to be out doing what they were doing when they were dating.
Yeah.
So it feels a little bit like false advertisement, right? She wants to go out dancing. She wants to listen to music. She's not interested in reading. We know she's not an academic. No, thank you.
She's in her 20s.
Yeah, she's 20, 21, 22. She wants to be out having fun. Albert wants to sit at home. So that's a little bit of a problem. Number two, and a bigger problem, is Albert never got over his deceased fiancée. And he compares Ruth to her on a regular basis.
Like vocally?
In a lot of ways. In a who never would have done that way. And he has a picture of her prominently displayed over the mantle, either in their bedroom or in the living room, depending on the source. He also named his boat after her.
Oh, God.
He also has a separate photo album of pictures that just contain her. And he also wears a stick pin on his lapel that has the initials JG for Jesse Gashard. He wears it every day.
Okay, yeah, he's not quite there yet.
So
he moved on too quickly.
And lastly, Ruth really wants children. Albert does not.
Yeah, but they don't really have birth control, do they? I guess they do a little bit by this point.
Again, I think you're focusing on the wrong detail.
I'm just saying.
Well, okay, but
one thing leads to another.
Well, if they did or if they didn't use it because Ruth gets pregnant in 1917. Apparently, Albert is ticked. He is not pleased with this. And then he eventually comes around and says, okay, fine. I guess I'd like to have a son. So obviously.
And it's a daughter.
Yeah. Obviously they have a girl. And he's ticked again. Like it's Ruth's fault. What have you done to me?
You always hear about that. Like the women have a girl back then. It's like, way to go. Like we're picking the chromosomes.
I know. It has literally nothing to do with it. Holy moly. So they have a baby girl. And this marriage just jumps off a cliff after this because now Albert's pretty uninvolved and he starts treating Ruth just like hired help. Like, why is this place so dirty?
That's terrible.
Clean this up. Why is the baby crying? Because he's just treating her like a housekeeper.
Oh, man.
And he's being very critical. And he's doing this all while continuing to express his undying love for Jesse.
For Gashard.
Yeah, for JG.
Gashard.
So, side note, if you feel like this, ladies, then you deserve to be valued. So just exit. Just leave. Don't go down the path that Ruth's about to go down. Like, take a left and get out of here.
Yeah. You are worth everything.
Yeah.
Don't let anybody belittle you.
Go sing it. Yeah. So, in the early 1920s, Ruth's mother, Josephine, actually moves in with them in their house.
That might be nice for Ruth.
It was.
To have a barrier.
Well, now Ruth's like, cool, you got the kid, Mom, and then she just goes out on the town. So she starts going out at night, staying out late. She's meeting up with old friends. She's partying. She's drinking bootleg liquor, living it up.
Nice.
And her mother actually notices and says, you need to get a divorce. So
can they?
Yes, they can. So the fact that her mother's supportive of it and you could do it, it would be hard and there would be some, stigma attached to it, of course. But Again, another option. Ruth,
Yeah.
take it, please.
Take it.
She does not. So in 1925, Ruth meets Henry Judd Gray.
Okay.
His name is, she calls him Judd, even though it's Henry Judd. He goes by his middle name. He's a corset salesman. And ironically, one source said that Ruth met him because she was buying a corset because Albert was so critical of her body that she was buying a corset to appear, that she still had her figure. So she meets Judd. And Judd, the descriptions of Judd, they're pitiful. He is described as just the most boring, mediocre man that's
Putty.
ever existed. He's the Putty. Welcome. He's the Putty man. He works, he works a 9-to-5 job. He goes to church on Sundays. He's married to his high school sweetheart. They have one daughter. They've got the white picket fence, and he's just this mild-mannered guy. He also dropped out of school like Ruth did and got to work. The two start just a torrid affair. And Judd and Ruth start living it up. They're going to speakeasies, drinking, dancing, this, that, and the other thing. And they often will stay at the Waldorf Astoria and register as Mrs. and Mr. Gray. So,
wow.
Yeah. So Judd appears boring and mild-mannered, but clearly he had some currents running underneath there. Judd listens to Ruth and becomes infatuated with her. So Ruth feels like she has somebody to talk to now, which is what she's been missing. And he's obsessed with her. On the other hand, for Judd, Ruth is exciting, she's fun, and she's just different. Right? Even he was getting bored with himself. And they have pet names for each other.
Oh, no.
She calls him Bud, which is whatever.
Okay.
He calls her Mumsy. Tell me how you feel about that.
Why?
It's a wet signature of a nickname, isn't it?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, ew.
Mumsy.
Ew.
Oh, Mumsy.
Ugh, gross. So sometime while the two of them are dating, they hatch up this plan that they need to get rid of Albert, right? It's the only way they can be together. I don't know what was going to happen to Judd's wife, but...
Yeah, well, I mean, doesn't he have a family?
Yeah, who knows? Maybe, Albert also has money, so that was probably a big part of it. So they hatch up this plan that they need to get rid of him together. Now, later, the two of them will waste all of their energy saying that the other one had the idea. Who knows? Does it really matter? If somebody comes to me and says, hey, do you want to kill so-and-so? I'm going to be like, nope, no thanks, not for me, and just leave.
Well, we're not doing a podcast about you. These are special, on the radar people. Gotta watch out.
You're right. I'm not here. You're
not ending up on a murder podcast.
God, let's hope not. Golly. Knock on wood.
You can control it.
Not as the victim. You didn't specify.
True. Watch out.
Ah, dang.
You gotta train Pepper to be your guard cat.
This is pitiful. Okay. You have me all worked up now.
That's what I'm here for.
Now I'm nervous. Anyway, the two geniuses hatch up a plan. So Ruth takes out 3 separate life insurance policies.
Wow.
Yeah. She wants to make sure this is going to work. The highest one for just under $50,000. And that one has a double indemnity clause, which means that it will pay out twice as much if someone dies of accidental causes. Yeah. Now,
I wonder what's going to happen.
Apparently, Ruth had tried to take care of Albert herself on a few occasions, and she's not succeeding. She tried to poison him. She tried to overdose him with sleeping pills. She tried to tamper with the jack of his car because he liked to work on his car, and I guess the car fell and he moved just in time.
Oh, the Widowmaker.
And
isn't that a piece of the tool set?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah. The jack that puts the car up, part of that's called the Widowmaker because so often it would...
God, it's dark.
That's true.
Wow. Good tidbit. And then another time, I think she closed him in the garage and hoped he'd die from the fumes because the car was running. He survived every time.
God.
Yeah, if that's...
She really tried.
If that's true, she really gave it the college try and failed.
Yeah.
So that's not working. And Ruth keeps telling Judd how terrible it's getting at home, right? She can't take it anymore. She needs to get out. It's awful. Like, they need to do it, apparently. Also, Ruth's like just jetting all the time. She's not.
Yeah.
She hasn't been home for
I feel
like
bad
3
for the
years.
kid, honestly.
I do too. That's who I feel the worst for. Thank God the grandmother's there.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. So they come up with this plan, and on March 19th of 1927, Ruth, Albert, so the husband, and their daughter go to the neighbor's house for a night out. Ruth leaves a door or a window unlocked so that Judd can sneak in while they're gone, and he hides in one of the bedrooms.
Oh my God, I can't.
The mother is out of town, just so you know.
Okay.
Josephine's not there. So the Snyders are living it up. They're actually out super late, which always was weird to me because the daughter's 9 at this point. I'm thinking, doesn't she
Maybe
have to
things
go
are
to
different
bed?
in the 20s.
I guess not. They're out very late. Albert's drinking heavily. Booze is flowing, and I'm sure Ruth's nudging him. Oh, have another one.
Yeah.
So they get home really late, like early morning.
What if Judd's like waiting, like falling asleep in his hideout post?
He's not falling asleep. He's absolutely sweating through his suit and crying for his mumsy. So they get home, and Albert's, drunk, and they go to bed. Ruth gets ready for bed and lays down next to him and waits till he falls asleep. Once he falls asleep, she goes and finds Judd. They sneak up into the bedroom where Albert is sleeping, and Judd has a window weight. Do you know what that is?
A window weight?
Yeah.
No.
So it's about 5 pounds. It's this iron, like long cylindrical thing that was used to counterbalance the window. So when you push the window up, the weight would go down and keep it up.
Okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
So they've got a window weight. Do you think that's an odd choice of weapon?
Yeah, like maybe grab a knife.
I mean, a lot of other things.
A hammer.
Wow, yikes. Judd has the window weight. He strikes Albert over the head with it. But Judd is a pretty weak dude in more ways than one.
I mean, he's made out of putty.
Albert wakes up, and a drunk, sleepy Albert starts fighting back, no problem.
God.
Judd starts screaming, "Help me, Mumsy." Oh, Judd. You are not cut out for this,
They
sir.
should have slit his throat.
How about they just run away together? Why are you always giving advice to the murderers?
We're already at this point. I'm trying to, if we're in this situation, make a better choice. They're already here.
Pack a suitcase and leave before you hurt another human. And you, I'm wearing turtlenecks around you, like made of metal, because you're always talking about slitting throats.
Well, if you're sleeping, that's probably going to be the best thing to do.
God, they basically gave him a bump on the head. Like, oh no.
Like,
help me, Mumsy.
Mumsy, please.
So he starts yelling for Mumsy. Now, this is where their stories really go haywire. Ruth says she didn't do anything and she just watched it all go down. Judd says when he yelled, "Help me, Mumsy," that Ruth then started hitting Albert over the head.
I believe that.
Yeah, I mean, come on. So then at some point, it just gets real foggy about all we know really is what happened to Albert. Who knows how and who, but he's doused in chloroform. Like, they just start throwing it on his face, and then they wrap his head in some cloth, and then they get a wire.
What?
Yeah, it's violent and awful. And then the two of them are covered in blood because it didn't go as planned.
That's horrific.
They take their clothes off and burn them. They have an incinerator. And then Judd has to dress in Albert's clothes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, don't worry, they've got a solid plan after this. Then they're going to make it look like a home invasion. So then they spend their time destroying the house and making it look like people came in. One problem, though, they didn't really take anything. So
classic mistake.
That's not great. Only thing they did take was Ruth's jewelry. Okay. So they destroy the house, and then Judd ties up Ruth. She's bound and gagged.
Yeah.
She's supposed to wait until their daughter finds her in the morning. Judd leaves after that. Now, he's worked quite a bit on his alibi, Judd has. He has enlisted the help of a friend. The friend does not know he's committing a murder. The friend thinks that he's just trying to cover for having an affair.
Oh.
Okay. So, I mean, still not great. moral fiber, but a little bit better than thinking you're just killing some guy with a window weight and yelling for your mom. But the friend that checks into the hotel as Judd. So Judd's supposed to be at this particular hotel, right?
Okay, got it.
The problem is Judd is not cut out for this, as we know. He's super Frederick Manning vibes.
He's made out of putty.
And a totally unforgettable man makes the mistake of talking to literally everybody he meets on his way home out of nerves. So tons of people later remember him because he's being so awkward and chatty.
God.
Judd, get it.
I feel like if Brad murdered someone, he'd be like that.
What?
Like, he would just be so nervous he would be talking to everybody.
I don't know. Brad's really good under pressure. I feel like he'd have problems in them. Let's not talk about my husband murdering someone. He's completely innocent of any crimes. Moving on. So Ruth can't wait to be discovered. So she just I don't know, kind of wiggle worms it over to her daughter's room and pounds on the door.
Okay.
She's supposed to wait, but she doesn't. And the daughter finds her. Think of how traumatic this is.
Yeah, this is terrible.
Come on now. And she tells the daughter to go get help. So the daughter runs to a neighbor's house. The police arrive, and Ruth tells them that she's survived this home invasion by two men who, quote, looked Italian. Super descriptive and helpful. And right away, the police are suspicious. So Ruth said she was knocked out, but she has no injuries. Duh. And Albert, on the other hand, has been brutally murdered. So why would these two people brutally kill Albert and then just gently tie a ribbon around Ruth's wrist? That doesn't make sense. Also, they notice that not a lot of valuables are taken. Everything that they can see things that are worth money in plain sight that were untouched.
Right.
And the jewelry that's missing, it's under the mattress. They find it pretty quick.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Good job, guys.
This is also called the dumbbell murders. Just so you know.
Dumbbell murders?
Because it was a weight and they were so dumb. You get it.
That's amazing.
So they're suspicious, but they're doing their investigation. And while they're doing their investigation, they find Albert's JG pen on the floor. The one that he wore every single day for Jesse.
Yeah.
They find it on the floor, but they don't know what it is. So they take it into evidence, and they actually think it was left behind by the murderer. So what they do is they get Ruth's address book, and they look through it, and they find JG, Judd Gray. And they bring Ruth down to the station, and they say to her, "Who is Judd Gray?" And instead of answering that he's a corset salesman, she says, "Why? Did he confess?"
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And they're like, "Nope, but we're going to bring him in now. And why don't you take a seat, ma'am?"
Winner. Good job.
So they round up Judd and Ruth, and they charge each of them with first-degree murder, and immediately they blame it on the other person.
God. Dumbbell is right.
Yeah. Jesse, let's solve this one from behind the grave.
Oh, boy.
Jesse just came back. Ruth couldn't shake her. She came back and was like, "I'm going to haunt you."
Yeah.
No, thank you, ma'am.
No, thank you.
So now this is where the media dubs the pair the Granite Lady and the Putty Man. Ruth is cool, calm, and collected all the time. And she has a presence about her, which is what Albert honestly liked about her at the beginning.
Right.
She's very tall, and those striking blue eyes now are being described as icy blue.
Yeah.
Right? It's spinning. Judd, on the other hand, is physically small and has these round glasses, so he always looks like a deer caught in headlights.
I can just see
every picture of him. He's like, "Oh no!" So the media has a field day with this, right? Poor Judd.
Yeah.
Oh, poor baby. So once the trial starts, the courtroom is packed. People outside. Souvenir lapel pins are made. And Judd's lawyers and the media quickly spin this tale that Judd was a man possessed by an evil woman.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Judd is actually quoted as saying to the Daily News, "Are you ready? You're going to hate this." And it also doesn't make sense. She would place her face an inch from mine and look deeply into my eyes until I was hers completely. While she hypnotized my mind with her eyes, she would gain control over my body by slapping my cheeks with the palms of her hand.
What? Nonsense.
What is happening over there?
Oh my God.
But also, God, I know when there's a killing duo, there's always the alpha. But get it together.
Yeah,
She
that's
can't mind control you
ridiculous.
by looking in your eyes. God, Judd.
So stupid.
Dumb. Ugh, makes me so
What a
mad.
dummy.
Yeah, Putty Man is right. So both are found guilty of first-degree murder. And the public felt really sorry for Judd. Like I said, he had a lot of sympathy. But as soon as the trial was over, he was transferred to Sing Sing on death row, and his death row inmates did not feel the same way about him that the public did. Because he's a snitch.
Yeah.
They didn't like him.
And snitches get stitches.
Yeah, that's what they say. Now, Ruth, on the other hand, was hated by the public, right? She's just this vixen that was just made this poor little man hit someone over the head.
Yeah.
But when she goes to prison, she gets over 100 marriage proposals. Sounds good. People lining up. She is the only female inmate on death row, as I said. Ruth spends her final days in prison writing, and she's not much of a storyteller. She doesn't like school, so I read it's pretty much gibberish. But the message seems to be about warning other women about living a life of sin and to just be happy for what you have and trying to warn others.
Grass isn't always greener.
Yeah, her grass is not going great. And she also wrote a letter to her daughter explaining what had happened that she left for her daughter to open when she was older. I don't know what was in there, though. It wasn't disclosed. And Ruth's daughter, who continued to live with the grandmother, gets caught up in a custody battle because Albert's parents want custody.
But they're not even involved.
Yeah, but her daughter did murder their son, so I can see why they might think. I can see both sides. But Josephine, the Ruth's mother, was in the little girl's life.
Right.
And that's who she was used to. Eventually, the court gives Josephine custody.
Okay.
So she does stay with Ruth's mother.
God, imagine your child does something like that.
I know. I don't feel in this case it was Josephine's fault. You know, sometimes there's just unbelievable abuse.
I think there's at a point, like, you're not responsible for your children's actions. Like, you do the best you can raising them. If you don't abuse them and you set them up as best you can, like, sometimes shit happens and you can't take that responsibility upon yourself.
Yeah, I think.
Also, we're getting a thunderstorm right now. Sorry.
Oh, could you control that, please?
Can you quiet down, please?
Could you please noise gate that for the recording? Thank you. So on January 12th of 1928, both Ruth and Judd were put to death by electrocution.
God, it's such a brutal way.
Awful.
I'd rather have a firing squad.
God, I mean, anyway,
I know that doesn't sound great either, but like if you have a good shot, a bullet to the head and heart at the same time is preferable than being electrocuted.
I mean, I'm not going to sign up for any of them, but
yeah, well,
yeah,
they do it better today, I guess.
So Ruth and Judd, they have to go one after the other. They're in the same prison, remember? So Ruth goes first, and she resisted being walked up to the chair and actually fainted, which, I mean, you can't help but do that. Why is that good?
Because then you don't remember dying.
Well, they obviously wait for her to come to before they start.
Oh.
I don't know why, though. You make a good point.
Right?
Why don't they just let them
kill her while she's asleep?
Well, that didn't work that way. And once they put her in the chair, she just starts praying for the men who are about to put her to death.
All gonna mess with their heads.
Yeah. Respect. Now, and then Judd goes and he gives them no trouble. He actually helps them adjust the headgear. So.
Wow. Yeah, I'm shocked.
He's the Putty Man. Now, what is strange about this case and about this execution is that there is a viewing room for executions and no reporters are allowed in. A strict rule. But
Who would want to go there?
Well, the Daily News hired an out-of-town reporter that would not be recognized. His name was Tom Howard. And Tom had set up a camera in his pant leg with a shutter release that he could control. So it's like attached to his ankle, and then he can press the button in his hand. The wire ran up his pants.
I'm against that.
Yeah. And as Ruth was dying, he lifted his pant leg and took a picture of her in her final moments.
That's terrible.
He has no idea what he's getting because he can't focus the camera, but he manages to capture her in the frame. It's a little blurry, but he gets a picture of her. And that picture is put on the front page with a headline that just said, "Dead." It sold out in 15 minutes, and it was the first picture of a female's execution.
That's terrible. Like, I don't care what somebody has done. That's crossing a line.
Yeah. Honestly,
I don't like that at all.
I knew you wouldn't. And I actually wrote in the notes that I'll share with you after, I wrote, Alana, the picture I described is in here. Please let me get the pictures for you so you don't have to see it, because I knew you wouldn't like it. And honestly, the picture, you can't really tell much from it. It's just knowing the backstory, though. It's so creepy because it's not a great picture. It just looks like somebody sitting, but it's just so morbid.
I feel like it's beyond creepy. Like it's
disrespectful.
Yeah, like at a very deep level, like the deepest level.
Ruth did something terrible, but her daughter will have to see that.
Yeah.
Or avoid seeing that for her whole life.
I hate that. And I hope bad things happen to that reporter.
Well, that's harsh. Again, stop being a vigilante. You don't know his story.
Can't help it.
That is the story of the Granite woman and the Putty man.
Ugh. It was a rough ending.
Mm-hmm.
We're not going to be sharing that picture.
I knew you wouldn't want to.
Look it up on your own.
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't want to. I will post a picture of the camera, though, to show you how it was done, because that's just a picture of a leg. Thought you could hang with that. But yeah, no, I agree. It sold out in 15 minutes. And now
it's just, people are gross.
Well, now when you go into a prison, they make you pull up your pant legs because of this.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So I think Ruth felt bad. I don't know if she felt bad just because of the consequences or if she legitimately felt bad. But again, ladies, just head for the door.
You have choices in this day and age.
Yeah, I mean, emotional abuse and financial abuse are real things that are happening to men and women. And if that's something that's happening to you, it doesn't always have to be physical, which can be really, really tricky, and why it's taken so long for those things to be recognized. But we'll post some resources for somebody who might be in that kind of situation. But I don't think that's the situation Ruth was in.
Yeah. She murdered a guy.
Yeah. And, he wasn't the nicest. I think we know that. But she had the freedom to come and go as she pleased. Clearly, she was out all night. She did the life insurance policy, so she's got financial freedom. Her mother
made a bad choice.
Yeah, her mother told her, "Hey, get a divorce," so she's got that support. So that's not the situation
that's a good point.
Ruth was in. But that is a real situation that, I want to make sure people understand that. But Albert's the one who paid the price here.
Yeah.
Not Ruth.
Yikes.
And then you had Jesse coming in. So.
Yep. Saving the day.
Can you imagine the unluckiness what are the odds?
Right. Those initials.
Oh, and his name's not even Judd. It's Henry. It's Henry Judd.
Right. Oh, God.
And she wrote JG in her address book. Oh, gosh.
Bad luck to you.
Again, I'm not trying to help her figure out what she could have done better, but it just seems so unlikely. I mean, you hid the jewels under the mattress. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they really didn't think that part through at all.
Why wouldn't they let Judd take them?
Right. I guess they'd be nervous to be connected back to him.
He probably would have pooped his pants if he took them. He could barely contain it, leaving the house without anything. He's talking to every person that he came in contact with.
He's pitiful.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, there you go. I feel
lovely.
bad for both of their children because Judd also had a little
Yeah.
girl around the same
Yeah.
age. That is a heavy, heavy burden to live with the rest of your life.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's always the kids that suffer.
All right. How's your tea holding up?
That's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sound
Yeah, it's
convincing.
very nice.
All right.
It's very nice.
Any last words?
Divorce, not murder.
Put that on a t-shirt. I think that's wise. I think that's wise.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
I'd even take abandonment over murder.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Separate.
Yeah.
Could have a few different versions.
Or just completely ignore him.
But where would the comma go after divorce?
Yeah, Alana is obsessed with correct grammar, and she proofs everything that I write. And that's what's coming out now.
Divorce, comma, not murder.
Yeah. I think that works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unless it's a hashtag, then you don't need a comma.
Yeah. There you go.
It solved your problems.
Save the work.
Perfect.
Hashtag.
All right.
Oh,
yes, ma'am.
To
the lovely lady in front.
So we're getting lots of support from our listeners, and it would be of great help if you could share with your friends or family. Word of mouth even helps, or sharing, on your socials. We really appreciate it. Get the Tea Time Crimes out there. You know what I mean?
Yes. If you could rate or review, that would also be amazing. And if you
that helps us get up there in the standings so people can find us.
Yes, it helps people outside of our network find us and listen. Yes. And that will allow us to make more episodes. So if you could do that, just takes a second wherever you listen to your podcasts. Hit a button. If I can do it, you can do it.
And this is true.
Yeah.
Speaking of our listeners, one of our listeners came up with a great name for the Candace Mossler episode. So I'd like to unofficially rename it to Candace the Texas Pervert. If you haven't listened to that episode, be sure to listen to that spicy one.
Oh, Candy. Oh, man. I can't believe they didn't flip on each other, honestly. But again, maybe just don't murder somebody.
Incest.
Yeah, true love of your nephew will have you do amazing things. Again, don't murder somebody. Just leave, please.
And we don't support incest.
Or murder.
Well,
All right. That's a great... Maybe we should have this fan name some more of our episodes.
Yeah.
I like it.
She did.
Awesome. Well, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram at
Tea Time Crimes.
You can email us at
teatimecrimes@gmail.com. We take suggestions for tea, for stories, for jokes.
For anything, really. Life advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Song lyrics.
Yep.
But not the whole song. We won't have time for that.
Okay, that was specific. All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.